This week on Rugged Expeditions, we're hunting in one of the most dangerous places on Earth, where we'll be escorted by AK-47 toting locals while we hunt the king of the Himalayas, the Kashmir Markhor. In the area we were in, the snow had gone up and the Markhors had moved even higher. The guys got all excited. Even at a distance, you could tell that this was a monster. A lot of my friends and family have thought I had a screw loose in the past when I've told them I've been going hunting in places like, let's say Iran or Tajikistan or Uzbekistan, places like that. As a rule of thumb, most countries that end in the word "stan" are not exactly glamour places to go on vacation. So when I told the gang that I was heading to Pakistan to go hunting, that's when they really questioned my sanity.
Because of the difficulty in traveling to Pakistan, J. Allen Smith had to opt for a local cameraman to document his hunt, as opposed to his usual crew.
As if hunting in Pakistan isn't treacherous enough, here we are going along the Silk Road, winding our way along, and we've got sheer cliffs leading down to the Indus River. The Karakoram Highway, or as it's also known as the Silk Road, still to this day is one of the main thoroughfares for connecting China with Pakistan and India.
The Silk Road is a series of network routes used for trade and cultural interactions. As the name implies, the ancient road derives its name from the lucrative Chinese silk. An exchange of spices, primarily salt, was initially used for trading between China and Pakistan for the silk. During its construction, roughly 800 Pakistanis and about 200 Chinese workers lost their lives due to landslides and falls. In spite of the tragedy, the importance of the road was too significant to factor in the development of civilization.
Passing through the villages along the way was an event in itself. Between dogs that wouldn't get out of the way, chickens, goats, sheep, never mind the actual people that live there. But finally we arrived at our final destination, the tiny village of Dasu. A lot of the camps you go to around the world to go hunting have their own little quirks. But I gotta admit that when I got to Khuzestan and met my guides, the great Khuzestan people, I was a little bit surprised that pretty much all the men are carrying an AK-47. Now, it is certainly a great weapon, easy to clean, doesn't jam. It's been the tool of the trade for most terrorist organizations for years, so it must have something going for it. But I really wasn't expecting it to be what my guides would be carrying into the field as a, let's say, backup rifle. Way up high in the mountains, you're typically expecting to see something like goats, wild sheep, maybe a few domestic animals. But nothing had ever crossed my mind that I thought that I'd see some monkeys.
What the hell's a monkey doing out here? I don't see one banana tree anywhere. All I see is rocks and oak trees.
While Falkus was the chief of the village, The elder statesman of the group was the white-bearded gentleman that they referred to as Uncle. Great guy, always keeping his eye out for me. At times, I wasn't sure what Uncle was up to. I turned around to look, and there he was, and he had his hands up like this, and I thought maybe he was, watching out that I didn't fall off one of the little treacherous paths we were on. But then I heard him, it sounded like he was praying to Allah, where he's doing something like, something like that. The good news is, at least we had Allah on our side, because Uncle was doing lots of praying for me, which always comes in handy when you're in the mountains. If you want to hunt certain species, you got to go where they live. In the case of the Kashmir Markhor, they're only huntable in the northwest region of Pakistan, in the high, lofty peaks of the Himalayas.
The markhor is the national animal of Pakistan. It's a large species of wild goat that is found in northern Pakistan and some parts of Azad Kashmir. The markhor are adapted to mountainous terrain and can be found upwards of 10,000 feet in elevation. They're diurnal and are mainly active in the early mornings and late afternoon. The name markhor is thought by some to be derived from the Persian words mar, meaning snake, and khor, meaning eater, which is sometimes interpreted to either represent the species' ability to kill snakes or as a reference to its corkscrewing horns, which do somewhat resemble coiling snakes.
Like all the members of the capra species, whether it's ibex, chamois, or the markhor, they like to hang out in the steepest, rockiest crags known to man.
After hiking for several hours through the treacherous mountains of Pakistan, Alain Smith and crew have finally arrived at their campgrounds in the Himalayas. This region is the only place in the world where the Kashmir Markhor can be found.
Looks like we made it. We're at our cabin for the night. You can see we're right here in Markhor country. Cliffs. You said the last guy that was here took some shots right over there in that snow. Then he took some more shots up in that snow. Then he took some more shots up there. Nothing. We're not going to shoot that far though. We're going to get a lot closer. I can kill him with a rock. Okay, now we're talking. That's my man. Oh yeah. We got some heat in here. We got some straw. On the floor we got some pads. Oh, this is going to be great. This is about, I'm going to guess 12 by 12, maybe 13. And my last count was that there's 27 of us staying in here tonight, so this should be a little interesting. I'm not sure that these guys have been exposed to Al Smith after he's been hiking and eating beans and peanuts all the way up the mountain, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure they can hold their own.
Like a jigsaw puzzle, somehow we were going to fit all of us, but it all seemed to work out. You just kind of found a cubby hole in the corner to get a snooze at night, and my preference, of course, was to keep my head buried in my sleeping bag because 24 guys taking their shoes off in a small cabin like that tends to have an aroma about it that is not really conducive to a good night's sleep.
Okay, this is where it's all happening. How are you? Man, I got a whole crew in here. You drying off? Looks like we got some tea cooking. Got some kind of magic soup. Huh? Yes. Right on. I could eat a horse and chase the goat. Or no, chase the rider, I guess it is. I might just eat a goat though by the looks of things. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the Pakistan's answer to the Iron Chef. Only this looks like the aluminum chef, but kind of the same thing. This is nice. Nice and warm too.
Despite my first impression, considering they're all carrying AK-47s, they're those people that kind of look like Taliban guys. They turned out to all be great guys. They were there because they all like to be in the field. They really wanted to work hard and get me the biggest trophy that they could find. Most of the Markhor tend to hang in the 6,000 to 9,000 foot elevation. In the area we were in, the snow had gone up as the temperatures had warmed up a bit, and the Markhors had moved even higher.
Lovely. Fog's kind of finally raising. We've seen one up here. Looks like we have and another one over there, so we're gonna go take a look at this one first. You can see where we came from down at the bottom of the valley. This is way worse than Azerbaijan, by the way, for all you sheep hunters.
Of all the Markhor species, of all the goats of the world, the Kashmir Markhor is considered the most beautiful of them all. With its spiral kudu-type horns, there's no animal that competes with it in the mountains as far as sheer elegance and beauty.
The Markhor are classified as endangered, as there are only fewer than 2,500 mature individuals. Ironically, hunting this rare specimen is beneficial in preserving their longevity. A conservation effort was made by the Fish and Wild Game Department to allow hunters limited access to these animals. In turn, the government can then monetize from the tags given and use the funds to preserve further growth of the species.
Once the sun peeked through the clouds, it was as if somebody had let the Markhors go. We started spotting them in different places across the mountainside. The guys got all excited when we finally found the big one that they'd been searching for. This week on What's in Your Pack, we look at the ubiquitous bandana, that printed piece of cotton that has been serving as the multi-tool of fashion for several hundred years now. Whether you use it to spice up a wardrobe or as an accoutrement to an award-winning hairdo, the bandana is an essential must-have in any seasoned world traveler's pack. Sometimes a bandana can be used to keep you from being no more than a redneck than you already are. In desperate times, it can be used to hold a bandage in place. When adventuring with dogs, you can let your hippie freak flag fly and give Fido the collar that is sure to make yuppie canines everywhere envious. And of course, last but not least on the list of bandana uses is its essential role in life's daily rituals when you forget to haul another of What's in Your Pack's must-haves, toilet paper. Now, you may not wish to sacrifice your lucky scarf to the caca gods, but given no other option, the bandana is a hiney saver, if not a lifesaver in this instance. I'm J. Allen Smith, reminding you, don't leave home without a bandana in your pack, and stay tuned for more rugged expeditions.
Hunting in the Himalayas with shikar safaris. Alain Smith and his guide Falcus have traversed the mountains in search of the Kashmir Markhor.
Right over the top here, there should be some Markhor. So we're just having a little rest. The clouds are starting to uplift. We're gonna have a gap here where we might be able to actually get them looking, maybe possibly on this shot. So we're gonna sneak up here right now while it's opening up.
Most of the Markhor tend to hang in the 6,000 to 9,000 foot elevation. Trying to get one to come down into a region that you could get to was the trick.
I think he's a shooter.
All the goats of the world have been lumped into a category, calling them the Capra. For record-keeping purposes, they've got the Capra World Slam and the Super 20 and the Super 30. Achieving any of these is a fantastic goal.
The Capra World Slam is considered by many to be the single most physically demanding accomplishment in the hunting world. And with good reason, as the Capra goats live in some of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Grand Slam Club Ovis has defined over 30 different trophy categories of Capra species around the world. An individual is designated as having achieved the slam when he or she has successfully taken and documented at least 12 different groups.
Many people consider the goats to be the hardest animals there are. I've been lucky enough to be able to collect over 30 of the species of capra, and every one of them has been an exciting adventure. We were actually down to only having 6 days total to hunt the Kashmir Markhor, and typically anyone that would go over there, if they did, would be going for 14 days. So the pressure was on to get something done. Finally, on day 4, we started spotting them in different places across the mountainside. Even at a distance, you could tell that this was a monster.
Sneaking through the jagged cliffs of Pakistan, J. Allen Smith and Company have spotted a mature Kashmir Markhor.
Falcouz, eagle-eye that he is, finally spotted a monster down in a cliff face where none of the rest of us were even looking. The Markhor was enjoying his morning sun, standing out there in the open, and he gave me a broadside, and the temptation to pull that trigger was all I could stand. After the first shot, you could tell he was definitely hit. He bounded up the mountain to another location. I rushed the second shot.
You hit it, okay, wait.
You can see where I hit just to the left of him.
बस ठीक है बस करो छोड़ो दिमाग मत लो फायर मत करो दोबारा. Where is he? He's coming, he's above where you shot already. He's coming to just.
Luckily, he came back down the cliff face and stopped one time too many.
We got him. Let go. Big, huh? Big markhor. Very big. Very nice.
This is the one we've been looking for the whole time. We started out at 3:30 this morning from the cabin. It's 8:30 now. We've been climbing the whole time. And we got into this snow, and there he was down in that spot. The man himself spotted him down there and made a lucky shot, 400 yards. And I think it's time to go see what he looks like up close, huh? See if he's as big as we think he is.
It took us over 45 minutes to get down to where the Markhor ended up at the bottom of the cliff. But of course, who got there first? But the wily old uncle, looking up at us, smiling, cheering. I figured it must be one hell of a trophy if old uncle is happy.
Good shoot. Thank you.
Markhor. So this is what they look like. The Kashmir Markhor. Real heavy, old Billy. What a great spiral to his horns. Comes up. It's the kudu of Asia. Except this is no kudu because you can smell that he's a goat, I'm telling you. It's too bad this movie doesn't have smell-o-vision on it because it would stink.
After a successful hunt, the team are greeted by the villagers and politicians of Desu. This is followed by a celebratory feast which is given in recognition of everyone's hard work. The local chief's traditional robe and hat are presented by the mayor as an honorary gesture.
It just goes to show you that people are the same wherever you go in the world. Everybody has the same basic needs. They want to make a living, they want to have a family, they want to eat good. And the average guy's not looking for trouble, he's looking to enjoy himself. I made so many new friends with all my guides and the other people in the villages. I wouldn't have any fear about returning to Pakistan tomorrow. Great place to go, and we're all on the same page when it comes to the basics of life. It's an honor to be here with you guys, and thank you for taking care of all these animals and, you know, watching them, and, you know, you guys' efforts to keep the Markhor healthy has been tremendous, and to see this many of an animal that's so rare like this in this valley that you guys have, it's just a great conservation program, and cheers to you. Keep it up. Thank you.
Next week on Rugged Expeditions, J. Allen Smith travels to Canada to battle the fierce hurricane weather in search of the cagey Anticosti whitetail.
That's about the 10th beer we've seen this morning, even in this bad weather. You better learn that the only predator on this island wears orange, and don't stand around that close to us.